The following program is rated MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Okay, students, this is your 5-minute warning. I repeat, 5-minute warning.
Silence. This is the 5-minute warning with Ruben Brown, happening right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, everybody up in there? His house. Once again, it is 5-minute warning. We are back and live on an awesome Sunday, and it's almost summertime. Cause guess what? It's still a little light outside, but you know we're still here doing what we got to do. And once again, it is I, it is me, it is Ruben, gracing you with your presence once again, and of course. With me, we always have AG.
What's happening, y'all? How you doing?
And then we also got Mo B.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, I got it right. I almost messed up. Hey, I almost messed up. But
you do this show every week and you still almost messing up. What in the world?
I mean, but the Twitter thing almost got it helped me out because I was like literally like right here, and I was like, oh, so whatever. But that's beside the point. How y'all doing today? How things? Ready for the summer?
Well, I'm not a kid anymore, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, that's fair, I guess. What about you, Mo B?
Summer's for the young, man. So it's just a season.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what?
Moco Cowboy, I do not have a new music bed. I've been using this for a while, but Ruben did use the intro for the live show.
That's great. It's time to upgrade this piece. But so yeah, I like the summer, except what I don't like is the humidity. And like Friday, humidity was slapping people in the face, yo. It was like yeah. And I was like, daddy.
Summer in the South is not my favorite thing. Never has been.
What you say?
Summer in the South is not my favorite thing. Never has been.
Oh nah, man. And the closer you live near the water, like I said, the humidity slaps you in the face, man.
And I got much respect for Moby for just enjoying living in Georgia because Georgia hot. I don't care what nobody say.
I mean, yeah, it's hot. I don't miss that.
Oh, I thought you liked it because you never said anything about it because the heat.
I don't miss that. You just get used to it, but like
you do
that Georgia heat's different now. Like now that I ain't been in it, when I go back, like I ain't used to it no more.
Okay. I watched the Braves play. They look miserable. They look like they're in hell. For real.
I mean, they kind of are. The season's terrible.
Well, I'm just saying.
Other things.
Why you gotta bring that up? Man?
I mean, I'm just being real about it, man. I mean, if my season was good, it'd be a little bit of hell, but it wouldn't be like great hell. It wouldn't be what it is. So, you know,
he is just hating because that's what he does.
You know, I'm just not even gonna give it any time of the day. I'm just not.
I don't know why you even responded. Like I was cool with it.
Just never mind. Go on, Ruben.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, because their season is so terrible that they're 2 games out of first place. I mean, just miserable.
Yeah.
Just a horrible season. Like how? I mean, I don't know how they're gonna survive being 2 games out of first place.
You know, I think they need to fire the GM, trade some players.
Yeah.
What do you think? Just rebuild. What do you think?
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I just got called up because I really don't follow baseball at this point in time because I didn't really know that.
Okay. Before he gets on the sympathy train, he doesn't follow baseball, but he got all kind of comments about a particular team.
Yeah, with a New York Yankees thing in the background.
Most definitely, Yankees all day, baby. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're kind of stinking it. That's the only team I do know is going on. We're third in the AL East, and I mean, but we got to win a record. So I'm hoping for the All-Star break magic, like it always happens.
Hey, you know, I'm gonna interject. I've always wanted to know, like, how did you pick the teams that you root for, Ruben? Did you basically just say, hey, I want to find whatever team's winning as a kid, and you just say, I'm going to latch on to this forever? Because it doesn't really feel like your allegiance to a team is really predicated on anything except for the fact that they happen to be 2 of the most winningest franchises ever. So they probably were doing a lot of winning, which makes me feel like, are you just one of those front runner fans?
And see, this is where all the hating starts, right? So
Whoa,
first of all,
that was a legit question. That was a legit. There was no hate in that question.
That last part of the question was legit. The rest of that stuff was a bunch of hate.
How?
But that's okay. That's
How?
okay. You one of those fair weather fans or whatever you call me.
I didn't say fair weather.
Like,
You said fair weather.
or whatever you call.
I said, did you pick all your teams based on who's winning the most? And are you one of those front runner fans? I didn't say fair weather. I didn't say fair weather. I said front runner. Like, as a Yankees fan, it's so hard to root for the team with the most World Series of all time. Oh, my fandom is truly tested.
Haters.
Not a hater. Ask a legit question.
So,
you know,
and I really want to answer your question. But go ahead, AG.
Not for nothing, but that would actually be a good question. How did you pick your favorite sports teams? We should have that as a question in another show, but not this one.
Well, I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version.
Oh my goodness!
As far as the Yankees, that's the first team of any sport that I like as far as baseball, and I like Reggie Jackson, and I'm a big Reggie Jackson fan, and at that time he was with the Yankees, so I mean, it is what it is. I ate the Reggie Jackson candy bars and everything. I mean, I was a huge Reggie Jackson fan. As far as Washington goes, then I mean they were on TV all the time. That's not really, and they're closest to me. So it's pretty much, one of those things. I guess it's kind of like your hometown type deal, sort of. I didn't like Theismann. I thought Theismann sucked ass, but I liked the team, and that was fine. Riggins was a beast, and stuff like that. But the sad question of that is, how did all these people up here become Cowboys fans? That's a different conversation for another time, as you said. And then as far as
you just deflected, man. That's all that was deflecting.
No. I told you how I became a Washington fan. I told you that. I answered your question.
Boy, oh boy.
But as far as the Lakers go, I didn't really get into basketball until after the 80s. And Magic Johnson at the time, I mean, I thought he was awesome and stuff like that. So I was a big fan of Magic Johnson. As I've grown older, I've become less of a fan of Magic Johnson. But as far as the Lakers go, once I discovered what basketball was and stuff like that and all that beautiful stuff and watching Magic Johnson play, for me, that was it. So there you go. I hope that answers your questions.
Understood.
Usually we're tied with players that I liked at the time. And, being a youth, I mean, you kind of gravitated to people who, honestly, probably one of the first type of experiences that you had. So probably one of my first baseball games was probably watching Reggie Jackson knock a couple homers out. And I was like, ooh, that dude's cool. And then, like I said, he was really one of the first players to really, do other stuff. Like I think he's one of the first professional players to have his own, candy. So, I mean, that was a thing, unfortunately. I was fat. And, so it's one of those things. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love candy bars too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I discovered him. He had that Sega game. He did have that Sega game. So I discovered that too. But yeah, I'm trying not to break up. I don't know what's going on. So I put it close to my mouth again.
You're having a bad internet day because you're not very clear. You're clear now, but you weren't before.
Yeah, my internet thing's popping up here saying, hey, dude, you kind of suck today. And I'm like, I got nothing. I mean, it's the way it is every week. So that just means I need to live in a house instead of an apartment. I'll push my computer closer to the router. But, excited for the show today. Got some stuff going on. But one of the things that we want to do first, we want to revisit an article that we talked about last month. I think it was last month or a couple weeks ago. I'm not really sure.
About 2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks? About Houston Methodist Hospital when the employees sued the place where they worked because they did not want to get a COVID-19 vaccination, and the hospital mandated that as a condition of employment. Excuse me. So, literally today, they updated, the article, and basically a U.S. District Court judge, ruled against the employees and ruled for the employer, and pretty much it was like, well, you ain't got to work there. Pretty much, he was like, you got to work there, but their thing was they claimed that the vaccines were quote unquote experimental and dangerous, and it would be quote unquote wrongful to be terminated for refusing to get vaccinated. However, under Texas law, workers are protected from termination only if they refuse to commit a criminal act that carries criminal penalties. So basically, they're saying, hey, if you don't get the vaccine, that's not against the law, and you're not going to get in trouble from the law because you don't get it. But, basically it was like, if your company who you work for, who gives you a check, says you got to do this, and you choose not to do that, then you can't get mad if they terminate your employment. And on top of that,
so pretty much the court said exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say we all said that before. So I'm like,
however, the interesting thing about it is what we didn't talk about last time is because we didn't know. Apparently, they use an analogy that the threat of termination in this case was like, quote, forced medical experimentation during the Holocaust, unquote. Yo, man, how come every time people get mad about something and they want to like strike fear in the hearts of man, we bring up the Holocaust? The Holocaust is some terrible stuff. But how you gonna sit here and be like, well, if they make us get this COVID-19 vaccine, it's basically like the Holocaust?
Because people are dramatic, that's why. Especially when they don't get their way.
Yeah, man, I'm just like, really? Holocaust, that's what we're doing? We're bringing this into it?
Tantrum, that's all.
Yeah, and we have already established on this show that if you can manage to get the Jewish community on your side, you got a chance. So if they could fall under that umbrella, they would have had a chance. Unfortunately, it's really an apples to oranges thing. If it was anywhere close, they might have had a chance.
It's called laws, man. The law basically said that, hey, as long as they'll tell you to do something that could put you in jail or get you in trouble with the law, then you can be termed. So, man, and they're going to appeal it because, why waste more taxpayers' money?
I mean, you got to appeal it. If you've taken the fight this far, you might as well keep going. I mean, look, I'm not going to 100% say they're going to definitively lose again. I mean, we've seen crazier appeals actually work. So
I mean, they do have to find another narrative, though. Yeah, they got to find another way to fight this. The
Holocaust ain't gonna work.
Right. Yeah, that's.
But I guess the question is, what's to stop the employer from just firing them?
Because they need those people. It's 116 people.
I mean, you're right, but when it's all said and done,
technically, the court just ruled that there is nothing stopping them from firing them. So they could.
I don't see them doing that. There's too many people all at once. But if they wanted to, they could. Actually, they probably could beforehand.
They're not trying to fire everybody. They just want people to feel that heat enough for some of them to be like, all right, I ain't trying to lose my job over this.
I guess the big question is,
because somebody going to convert. Somebody right now is just like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to get this shot then.
I mean, I'm going to take one for the team, guys. I'm out.
Well, it made my life easier at work. I don't know what the problem is. Just saying.
I mean, I guess the way I figure it out by now, man, it's like, you know what? If this is what's going to get you fired, or if you try to leave your job, then this is perfect. Just don't get the shot because eventually they'll fire you. I think the problem is you can't get unemployment that way. So it's like, because they fire you for a reason. You're basically not doing your job or what they expect your job is to be. So I guess that just means you just SOL. No unemployment for you.
Well, it is what it is. That's just, I don't know. Like I said, when we talked about this before, the federal government says, you don't have to wear one, but that doesn't mean your employer or a business establishment in general can't say you need to wear one when you're here.
Exactly.
So it's like, we're in a democracy, but if you living on your parents' house, then guess what? That's not a democracy anymore. It's not. So it is what it is, man. I don't know what to say.
And I mean, people be speaking up lately, especially this teacher up in Virginia, surprisingly, Leesburg, Virginia, Loudoun County teacher. He was the school was trying to make a rule that basically, if the child who goes to school is transgender, then you need to, as a teacher, you have to use, the appropriate verbiage with that child. And a teacher was pretty much the gym teacher, by the way, and I say that on purpose, was pretty much like, it's against my religion to do that. And I was just kind of like, okay, but he did it in a public forum in which they asked for opinions because it's not law yet. Of course, you have to have a public forum and, hey, what's people's thought process on this? Because we're thinking about making this law. And then, of course, he spoke, working for the city of the county. He spoke on it and was like, yeah, I don't believe in it, yada, yada, yada. And then the next day, the school suspended him. But eventually, they unsuspended him because pretty much, you can't do that. Because that's almost a retaliatory act and stuff like that. So, with that being said, I mean, the first thing is, other than the teacher's actual statement and beliefs, was the teacher wrong here?
Well, he wasn't wrong personally. For him, it wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong because he said it in the right place, which is a public forum. You're allowed to say it in that setting, and it's not a law. I think he got suspended because it's not a good look. But you can't suspend somebody because it's not a good look with this particular incident. It's not even an incident, this particular situation. So when they reinstated him, they should have reinstated him because they never should have suspended him. This was what do y'all think? He told you what he thought, and y'all got mad because you thought everybody else was going to get mad. So you suspended him. You didn't suspend him for anything good or for any good reason based on, the setting and where this is. Like I said before, if it was one of those things where this was already set up and he said what he wanted to say, I can see it. But this was a what do y'all think moment. He told you what he thought. Y'all were scared because his opinion is not very popular right now. And it might paint the school a certain way based on a PR. And so it's like, I got to suspend him to make this right. Well, you didn't do anything right. You should have left him there. He might have some smoke he might have had to take, but at this point in the process, he's allowed to say what he said. So I don't know what the problem is.
Moby.
I mean, can I just say the unpopular thing and just say it's a dumb law that they're trying to make? It's a dumb law.
Well, that's why he was suspended because no one wants to hear that. No one wants to.
And my thing is like, it's a dumb law to legally make somebody say that somebody is something that they're not. So basically, I can see an orange, and you're going to tell me legally that I have to call it an apple, and if I don't, you're going to suspend me. That's dumb. Now, if the person if somebody changes their legal name, you should have to call them. If you work for the school, you should have to call them by their name. But I fully support anybody who's like, look, I understand, you're transgender, you were born a female, you identify as a male, you want me to call you a male. I'm just not going to do it. That's literally their prerogative. Like, do I agree with that stance? No, it ain't about whether I agree with it or not. It's just, I'm not in the business of making it legal to tell somebody they have to call something it's not. that's just where I'm at with it. Like, so I'm glad they, unsuspended him because they had no grounds to suspend him. None. Like, if you want to say I totally disagree with him, if you want to say that he's insensitive to transgender people, you can say all those things, and all those things may be true. But him saying he doesn't want to call this guy who's born a male, who identifies himself as a female, she, is within his rights. And it should always be within his rights. Not to the point where he's disrespecting someone. But I mean, if he, based on the way he said it, he didn't say it in a disrespectful way. He says it's against my religious belief to say that in a public forum when somebody asks him his opinion. It's a dumbass story. Like, they should have never suspended him. Like, it was stupid. It's a dumbass law that they're trying to pass, and it's a dumbass story. I can't sugarcoat it. Like, this. Now, do I agree with him? Totally different thing. Like, me, I feel like if, especially in a school, if somebody's brave enough to want to be like, hey, I was born a female, I want to be identified as a male, like, as a teacher, I probably would just go ahead and respect. All right, that's what you want me to do, cool. But that's my stance. I don't think somebody else should legally be forced to be progressive. That's not even progressive, to be imaginative, because technically it's saying something is something that it's not. So I don't understand why this is making such headways. Like, I don't understand what the are we so confused as to what respect and intolerance is that we just have to bend to the point where we're no longer asking for tolerance. We're no longer asking for acceptance. We're asking everybody else to change their entire belief system. And that's too far.
Well, 2 for 2.
I mean, it is interesting. It's interesting that you brought that up. I mean, I think because it really doesn't say why they want to create such law. For me, it sounds like it's almost like they feel like they don't want to give people appropriate choices. Because I think you're right, Moby.
I think they were just trying to get ahead of it. I think they didn't want a student to have to deal with this in a class. Like, he's calling roll and he's like, Timmy, and he's like, no, it's Taisha. Now I'm a female. And he's like, no, Timmy, I'm going to call you Timmy. They didn't want one of those situations, which I get the school wants to be, I guess, proactive as opposed to reactive, but you got to be proactive within your legal grounds.
I mean, and I guess the thought process is, if this law were to pass, then it would be obviously, he would have that people have no choice and they would get in trouble for it. I mean, I think I agree with you. They probably want to do this so that wouldn't happen, or because it probably already happened somewhere else, and they're just like, we don't want that smoke, because it just takes one. I mean, it takes one person to not be respectful.
Exactly, because you don't want an incident where a teacher or somebody, an authoritative figure, comes out and says some just disrespectful stuff, and then you get sued. So I understand what the school is trying to do, but sometimes you just gotta wait for that to happen before you try to like fix a problem that isn't even there yet.
I think it's a catch-22 because what Moby said is going to happen anyway.
Oh, it's going to. That's what I'm saying. So no law is going to help that.
Yeah, people gonna get frustrated.
And then if you make it a law for the teacher to do it, you ain't making the student. You can't make the students do it. What ground do you have? You're gonna kick it. So you're gonna kick a kid out of school because he refuses to identify a transgender person based on the sex that person wants to be identified with.
You have to. Yes.
That's going to be tough.
But it's gonna happen.
I know, and that student is going to say the same thing this teacher said. It's against my religious belief to call somebody something they're not.
Well, the bottom line is, in this particular situation, ain't no need to talk about it anymore because they were wrong for suspending him at this point in the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
there was no
definitely.
ruling. There was no ruling that says that he can't say it anywhere. He was asked his opinion. He said it. They got mad because they didn't want that smoke, and so they figured they didn't have a case anyway, so they reinstated him because that's another lawsuit coming.
Oh yeah, because he was
Yeah.
going to sue.
I think he kind of is doing.
I mean,
For that time.
he probably still should try to sue.
But I guess so. So I guess my next question is, like, and y'all would know better than I. Is there something in the Bible that says that, you know, we're not supposed to call people out of their gender or name? Because the fact that he uses religious beliefs kind of makes me think, okay, what are we speaking of?
That's a bigger concept. What he's talking about.
Yeah, it's not a direct concept of this, but I mean, in a sense, he's saying that it's against my, because technically he could just be like, it's against my beliefs because it's lying. I mean, let's just.
Well, actually, it's against his religion because it's an abomination. That's where he's actually coming from.
I'm saying I was just going in the most simplified form. He could just be like, I'm not about to lie.
And the other interesting thing was that he works at the elementary school. So,
Why is that
because one of the in his statement, he did say, well, I didn't want, where is it? Because he basically was like, I don't want a lot of children or something like that. But I mean, if the child who's there, you know, wants to be a different race, is it lying to that child? I mean, that's the whole thought process at that point. And that's why I found to be interesting that, you know, he was a gym teacher at the elementary school. At the high school, I get it more. But the elementary school, I mean, because he was like, this damages children. And I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, to my knowledge, from what I've learned from my limited communication, most of the children decide for themselves. So I don't think it's a parent deciding for them, usually, especially at that age. You know? So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. But then, but when it's all said and done, he shouldn't have been suspended because he spoke his quote unquote truth. And, so that's where all that lies. They're going to have to deal with this later because the question is, if this law gets passed, I guess we'll hear about it. We'll talk about it again. But if not, then we'll hear about it again. So
we'll be back to it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
This is not going away.
So, in Mississippi, or as what the Mississippians said, the people who live in Mississippi say, M-I, cricket letter I, cricket letter I, humpback I.
I know no one from Mississippi that admitted to that. That is Flo from Alice. We can keep that moving.
Actually, the young lady in that P Valley show, that was her name. She said that quite a bit. So
you got it from Flo from Alice. Let's keep it moving.
They're facing accusation of racism because they had announced a valedictorian and salutatorian who were black, but then they named two white students as co-valedictorian and co-salutatorian. So instead of having two people in the valedictorian salutatorian role, you had four people. Because I guess, hey, we got two black people. We gotta get the two white people up in there. I guess that was their thought process. I don't know. So the white parents are upset. I guess they're saying it's a calculation error, whatever.
Well, is this thing where they had two different scales that they were talking about?
Yeah,
and the white parents were going by one scale, and the administration was going by another.
Yeah, so the white parents who had never gone by that scale before was like,
Exactly.
we gotta find the scale that fits our narrative.
Exactly. Because really, if there was an actual bad calculation, there would still only be 2, not 4.
Exactly.
There would be a winner and a runner up, just like there is every year. And those other 2 young ladies that were named prior would be disqualified. There's no such thing as This ain't NCAA football. That's not how it works. So I'm just saying, if it was truly legit, it would still be 2. They would just be the other ladies. I'm sorry.
So my question is,
You already know what answer.
I mean, I'm saying though, because it needs to be said. So the schools grading, last time I checked, is the one that counts, not the one that the parents thought. Like, I don't understand how. Hey, that's not what they should be using. Like, all their grades. Like, I mean, you may know, I guess, but it's just like, what? I mean, you're using the wrong scale. No, this is the scale that all schools in Mississippi use. But that's the wrong one. You need to use this.
Was it the superintendent or somebody? He was black and he got talked to, and that's how all this started. Because it could have began and ended with him, and he folded, and that's how we got here. So what?
I don't understand.
Because he was new. He was new, so he had to get learned, and he didn't. He backed down. That's why we're here. We already know what's going on.
So for people who don't understand what these 2 different scales are, there's qualitative point average and the normal GPA. Well, the one that the school has always used apparently gives extra weight to advanced placement courses. So that means the people who were originally
the 2 black people.
Yes, the people who were originally the winners were in advanced placement classes. So not only did they have a better or just as good of a GPA, they were doing it in more difficult classes. Hence why they were the announced winners. So I'm failing to figure out whose argument won, other than just the blanket statement, white people. Because I can't find any other reason why you would fight this. Like, there's no other reason to fight this other than, but they're black.
There you go. That's the second time you said it in 2 different ways. Yes, there's nothing.
In there, Mississippi.
Exactly.
Because Lord knows, I guess in Mississippi you have a black salutatorian, black valedictorian at a mostly white school.
I'm missing it too. Not only are there black, it's 2 black females.
It's even worse. Because they're the lowest on the totem pole.
Yeah.
That's even worse, man.
Some people down there is like, we can't get these people hope.
No.
So it's like, it's so crazy.
Because
I
was talking about this when it happened a month ago. It's like they just can't have that. They already lost the presidency. People getting convicted or at least arrested for that foolishness on January 6th. It's not a good time to be non-brown. So they just had enough, man. They just had enough. They got to take the small win. And they got it. And they got it because a brown person allowed it to happen. I don't want that to get lost in the conversation, the bigger conversation. Because he is the linchpin, was the linchpin in all this. Because if he looks at it and go, y'all crazy, bye. We're not talking about this at all.
Yeah, I don't want to judge this coon, but
you just did. That was so funny. Oh my god.
I mean, I don't because I don't know his situation. Like, I don't know. He might be getting threatened. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know his situation, but what I will say is, like, wow, that's some cooning ass shit, man.
I was gonna say, does it gotta be all that? No,
it does.
Is there any other way it can be?
No, because we're gonna go over it.
If you, black male in position of power, can't say, would y'all sit your ass down and let me do this the way we've always done it?
Exactly.
I mean, but maybe he got a couple rocks through his window.
No.
You know what, Ruben? If he got a couple rocks thrown through his window, then quit your job. Don't
I mean-
don't be out here making it harder for the next person. Because that's all
I'm
he
with
did.
you. With you.
I'm just like I said before. I didn't want this part of it to get lost in the conversation. No one was mentioning this because, like I said, this dude.
And I don't know this guy. I know it's really harsh for me, who's not in the situation, to easily just throw out a blanket statement of coonery. But I mean, look, if that's the tap dance that's worked for him and got him this far in life, then I mean, who am I to break his rhythm?
Wow.
But see, here's the messed up part about all of it, right? He went to the news and was like, race did not play a part in the decision to name a second valedictorian and salutatorian, but instead attributed to the high school guidance counselor for not being given accurate information on how to calculate the designation. Hold on, man. First of all, you said
So you tap danced and
race-
you threw somebody else under the bus.
strong. Strong.
You
He was
was-
like, I ain't
Look at
going
him.
down by myself. He went, not my fault.
Man, I'm telling you, man, this one dude allowed this to happen. This one dude.
Oh, man. And
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, and all joking, like it's really like
sad.
it's cowardice. That's what it is, cowardice. That not only was he not willing to stand up, and I'm not even saying stand up for your people, stand up for the fellow black people. No, how about just stand up for these two students, no matter what their color or sex were, who earned this. Just stand up for them, no matter what they look like, whether just stand up for them and be like, no, I know you might not like the fact that these two students earned this, but this is what happened. So shut the F up and tell your kid to do better.
You know, the name of the school was West Point. West Point High, which, you know, you can go ahead and read all into that all you want. And then apparently in May, it happened in Texas because somebody argued that the school did not rank her grades correctly, claiming she did not rank third. I'm sorry. Third is horrible. Whatever, man.
Again,
I mean,
the only
now
reason
don't
we
get me
know about-
wrong. If you can prove that you really did rank higher than third, then I'd be upset too. You know what I'm saying? If I know for a fact that I'm higher than third, I might pitch the bitch too. But if
But here's
I'm gonna go make up measuring statistics like these people did, then nah.
make him up.
But here's the thing, even with the third thing, it's like, so you got the other two people's grade? Like, you got them all? Like, I mean, I'm sorry if you can't believe you came in third because your GPA is like this. What are you saying? Their GPA is not like that? I was like, come on, man.
Again, non-starter, man. We already know.
Yeah. I mean, I wow.
The only
That is
reason we
so
know about
rubbish.
this is because information travels so fast. This has been happening
Yeah.
because every once in a while you get a black person that outperforms, or a brown person that outperforms everybody. Somebody that's non-brown has a problem because a mirror has been pointed, raised up into their face, and it's like they got to face that, and it's like nothing to face, but they take it extra hard,
Yeah.
and so they practice that privilege they have, and they get their way. This has been happening.
And I kind of feel bad for those kids who are now thrust into the co category. I feel bad for them because they gonna get dragged for being co's because probably their parents push this.
Oh, it's always the parents.
I was saying because their parents
know.
push this.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not gonna give them
Now, hold on. I don't know. Maybe they were fussing, but them fussing isn't what did this.
You're
Their
right.
parents fussing is what did this.
I mean, it clearly says white parents claim calculation error.
No, but what
Not white kids.
what it may be leaving out is that initial spark when your son or daughter comes home and says, "I got robbed by two coons." I'm just saying. I'm not gonna give them quarter on that. I'm not gonna trust that they didn't do that.
Well, I mean,
But that attitude that you just stated is
That came from the parents.
that's a direct reflection on how you were raised. As
Yep.
that's a direct reflection of who your parents are. I mean,
Well,
because if I'd have went home to Yolanda Brown and said this, she'd have been like, "Well, I guess you came in third then." You know what I'm saying?
He's not wrong. My mama would have said it. Your mama would have said
or she'd have been like, "Did you actually come in first and second?" I'd be like, "Well, if you did this, was that how it's measured?" No, then shut the hell up.
Exactly.
First of all, if I'd have came to Shirley Brown with that, she'd have been like, "Oh my God, you got third?" That's what it would have been.
True enough.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's like there's two reactions there, because Yolanda Brown and Ann Riddick and Shirley Brown would have been like, "Show me the proof." You show them the proof, and you right. Then they'd have scorched earth.
Exactly.
I don't think that's what this was. I don't believe. I don't believe any of this. That's why I don't give the kids any quarter. I think they came home.
I'm not going to say I give them quarter. I'm just going to go. They didn't have the juice to spark this. They just didn't.
They did have the juice to spark it, but they did not have the power to get it this far. I will say.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, when your kid comes home and says I was done wrong, some parents will react that way, especially if a coon did them wrong. Perception doesn't even matter. Even if it's just perception, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
This is Mississippi. I'm just saying. I just can't. I can't do it. I'm like, I don't trust none of them.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we can all agree that this principal, F that coon.
Truth.
Superintendent.
It's not. Yeah.
F that superintendent. F that guy.
I don't want him to ever be forgotten, ever, because he's the one that caused all of this.
If he's smart, he'd probably find a new job and roll out.
Oh no, he's a hero. He's Ben Carson right now.
He got job security.
He's Ben Carson.
This coon gets it. He knows his place.
Wow.
And he knows how to keep the rest of them in their place.
And they bought him some new tap shoes too.
Yeah. He's basically Samuel L. Jackson and Django. That's who he is. He's Samuel L. Jackson and Django.
Damn.
You're surprised at that, Ruben?
I'm not surprised.
You can't be.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm just like, that's a pretty good like comparison. Because every black person hated that dude. Strong. Tickets will never prosper.
That's so cold-blooded. That's so jacked up. See what you done, Moby?
This is Moby's fault.
It really is. It really is.
KB Echo.
Between Tiggers and my wife running around talking about mind your business, that's all you, bro.
That's what Tiggers do best, man.
See? Look at it. Look at the influence in the world.
All right. So this week we have two questions a week. We decided to do it. We liked the question of the week last week so much, we decided to do two this week. So the first one might be the more important one. And I was thinking about moving that second, but I think it's important that we talk about it. So the question of the week is, if the loving situation never happened, do you think interracial marriage would have ever happened? Now, unless you've been living under a rock or whatever, and you don't know about this, first of all, I'm very sad for you. But the second part is, we'll help you out. So basically, in the late 60s, a Caucasian man and a black woman they fell in love and they wanted to get married and all this stuff, and they had kids. They were from Virginia. However, Virginia had a rule basically saying that you can't marry a person of a different color, and them and 16 other states had that rule still, mostly in the South, of course. But they loved each other. And so they were living in a different state. They got married. They snuck back to Virginia because back then you had to sneak back to Virginia. They couldn't live each other. They could not be seen in public together, especially with any type of affection or whatever like that. They did have 4 children, but the kicker was that because they technically weren't married in the state of Virginia, or wasn't recognized that they were married. But the biggest thing is, because they won't recognize they were married in the state of Virginia, and they lived in Virginia, even though Virginia didn't know that. Basically, what happens is, if he were to pass away, she would get no benefits from him. And his thing is like, my wife should get my benefits. because I work hard for these. And if something were to happen to me, I want to make sure that my wife and my family are taken care of. So ultimately, in 1967, the United States Supreme Court ruled in favor of them, basically saying that there's no reason why two people, regardless of color, color, creed, whatever, should not be able to get married. Which then, because it came from the federal government, it literally killed 17 different laws. Well, the law in 17 different states that existed at that time. So technically, the Lovings were the first interracial couple to be married in the South and for it to be recognized. And that's a big deal because that killed that law for the whole country. And remember, yes, in 1967, we did have 50 states. So just in case you were thinking about how many states or whatever, it was 50 states in 67. I would dare say that of all of us, our parents were alive at that time. So the first question basically is, and then I didn't put the follow-up question up here, but I am going to tell it later. Was it a matter of time before interracial marriage would have happened? Or do you think if that never happened in 1967, to this day, do you think we would still would we have ever had interracial marriage happen in the other parts of the country?
I mean, I'll go first because I let you know when you put this question that I was confused by the question because I don't understand what part about how our history has transpired, progressed, evolved would lead you to believe that if it wasn't them, it would have been somebody else. Eventually, somebody was going to challenge this and win. I mean, we were just headed in that direction. So I think it's just weird to just think, well, if they wouldn't have done this, nobody ever would have. I think it's more important to say if they would have lost, how long would it have been before this actually got overturned? Like that's the more like if they would have lost, how many years would it have been before somebody would have been able to win?
I understand, but I guess the reason why I had the question that way is because once again, the ruling went down in 1967. So, segregation had been going on. Wow, my history is not that good for at least 30 years. 20, 30 years, maybe?
Not in the South.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yes, very good point. Not in the South. You are correct. So I guess what I'm saying is like you may be right, maybe later on, but I guess my thought process is, what if somebody never even challenged it? Because literally,
somebody was going to. I just feel like somebody was going to.
I mean, but it took this dude to do it. So I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying is like
I think it's more about the time than the person. I'm not trying to discredit them for their fight and the courageousness of the fight. I just feel like if not them, somebody else would have. I don't know who. I mean, nobody ever had to because they did. But I just feel like within the year or two time frame that they did, somebody else would have done it if they wouldn't have.
I mean, they had to fail twice in Virginia.
Yeah.
To get to the Supreme Court. And I mean, in the 60s, like, if the roles were reversed, and if it was a black man and a white woman, I don't think it would have ever happened.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I believe that, they were the correct case study for it to happen.
So yeah. AG, what do you think?
No, I think everything Moby said. I was thinking about it beforehand. It's just like somebody would have done it. And then you're talking about a time where so many things were changing to start with. Late 60s, things were almost squared away legally. I mean, you ain't gonna change nobody's heart, and certainly bad habits to that point, but somebody gonna get tired of being sick and tired, because like this case, there's some black women out there that is love them some white men, and there's no reason why in the world why they can't legit marry that man if that's what they want to do. And somebody would have got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I do agree with what you said, though. I think it's a weaker case if a black man comes in with a white woman.
Yep.
But at the same time, it was going to happen. I mean, I think and really to me it's comeuppance anyway, because white men been raping black women for a minute. So come on, man. But it was going to happen. Somebody's going to do it. And it was the right time too. It was the right time, and it was the right people, because I think the other ace in the hole that people don't know, if you haven't seen the story, is the lawyer was Jewish. Yeah. I think that matters. That matters. Definitely. I'm not saying Jewish people aren't racist. That's not true. But I think that there is some empathy there that, a Protestant or Catholic white person or man or, barrister just wouldn't feel it. Mm-hmm. So that's my thing on it. It was going to happen.
It's so amazing, like, because I've seen the movie, the theatrical movie, but I've also seen the documentary, which to me, like, it always impresses me is when we talk about history documentaries and stuff, they just happen to have footage. Like, I guess, back then when this whole thing started, somebody had the wherewithal. You know what? I'm gonna start recording this stuff. Especially in the 6-7 when recording was all black and white, and dude kind of doing this type of deal. I mean, I always think it's amazing when you look at biographies and it's in black and white, and somebody just had the wherewithal to just record it.
Well, I mean, there's two things going on. I think the reporters are doing their job, and I think that in some cases like this, you understand when you're living history. And I think that they understood that. It wasn't hard to. You're talking about a Jewish barrister, lawyer, taking a case like this to the Supreme Court.
It was a trifecta.
Change the law of the land.
Trifecta, man.
Yeah. I mean, you have a black woman with a white man represented by a Jewish lawyer. 2 of them, by the way. So I'm sitting here going, for real? I mean, if I am a content creator back then, the writing is on the wall in lights. I got to get this. These people are important. Even in a loss, they're important. Because to that point, no one has challenged it. People just moved to another state. They kind of sucked and jived the man by, like when the Lovings came back for a minute, they lived like they weren't dating. That's how they lived. They got the old, the Mrs. got tired of being in DC. She missed her family. It was ridiculous. She's like, it's time to go. And so they had to do certain things. So they snuck around. Grown married people sneaking around.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, somebody's gonna get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, I mean, like, to just say how bad it was back then. The act was the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, which made marriage between whites and non-whites, not black, non-whites, a crime. And then they had to sneak away to Washington, D.C. to get married. And then the police raided their home, hoping to find them having sex. Like, literally, they went to their house hoping we can get these people, we can catch these people doing the nasty, so we can put them in jail. Like, really, dog? I mean, it's like, it was crazy.
That proves it, because that's what consummates a marriage.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, man, if it wasn't them, it'd be someone. But I still got to, since it was them, I appreciate them all the time because I would be in jail for real. Yeah. It is what it is. Can't do it.
I'd be in jail too. But
Well, no, because we're talking about a marriage.
Well, but no.
It was just frowned upon. Maybe they might lynch you, but you wouldn't go to jail.
No.
I'm just saying. Just saying, man.
Well, I mean, but no, because with that Racial Integrity Act, even interracial sex was illegal in Virginia.
Right.
So I mean,
I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where.
But it was okay for Thomas Jefferson, though. Just saying.
I mean,
I like
Thomas Jefferson, baby.
I love
that
dude anytime I get a chance. He's a walking contradiction to the nth degree. But anyway.
And KB Yako makes a good point. You could make an argument the verdict may have been a sign of the direction the company was going, but the country could have become even more racist, cementing the racist laws. So
that's what I'm saying. Like if they would have lost that Supreme Court thing, now that who knows what happens if they lose that in Supreme Court. So that I think that would have been more significant than the idea of if they wouldn't have appealed this, nobody would have. Like somebody was going to.
Yeah, but I think one of the reasons why they didn't lose is because, I mean, literally 34 other states were cool with it. So it's like,
I think the reason they didn't lose was because it was the perfect case. It was white male, black woman, and just like AG said, with a Jewish lawyer who was gonna present the case from all of the human aspects of it. In the Supreme Court, I'm not going to call them courageous for this, but in the Supreme Court, basically saying we don't want to be on the wrong side of history on this thing. Like, do we want to be that Supreme Court that denied this? Because they could see where the country was going.
Well, yeah, but there have been other Supreme Courts.
You're right. I'm not. That's why I'm saying I'm not saying that all Supreme Courts, but this particular arrangement of the Supreme Court looked at it and probably was like, and I'm sure there was a couple people that was like, nah, we cool with this, staying the status quo. But a couple other ones were like, we just ain't trying to be on the wrong side of history with this thing.
Yeah. And so they named Loving Day the 12th of June. And that's one of the reasons which today is the 14th? 13th? Almost. I don't know what day it is.
Couple hours.
Yeah, 13th of June. So that's another reason why that came up as well. So good stuff, gentlemen. Good stuff. And the second question I have for you today. So was black exploitation in TV and movies a positive or a negative for the black community and or the whole community? Now, and I phrase it like that for a couple of different reasons. Because first of all, I think it's fair to talk about what is black exploitation. So a lot of people first think about the old movies back in the day, like the Dolomites and all the horrible bad movies. Then you have a couple movies that weren't bad, but you had a lot of really bad movies and stuff like that. But I put TV in there on purpose because we also have good times. We have the Jeffersons. We have Different Strokes. We have the Cosby Show. So the thing about it is, the exploitation of black people isn't as obvious as simple as people thought. So the first part of the question is, do you feel it was a positive or negative to the black community? And we'll start with AG on this one first.
Well, it's both. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you were growing up in the late 60s, you start watching TV and understanding what's going on in the early 70s when this was really, really big. You weren't seeing yourself when you were a kid. Now, did you really understand it? Probably not. If you're a little older, you probably were. But you weren't seeing yourself on TV. So you're of age, you can go to the movies by yourself, you can watch TV on your own or whatever it is, and you start seeing people that look like you. As a first step, that is huge, because before there was no one that looked like you. And when they did look like you, they probably were misrepresenting you or oversimplifying you or just making you look bad or whatever they wanted to do with it. So in that way, blaxploitation movies in the 70s were a good thing. Now, the redundancy and quality of character, quality of the movie, most of the time was bad. It was. I've watched enough of them to know this. I know I'm black. I know maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but a lot of those movies were awful. Some of them were good. But the biggest thing was black people weren't running it top to bottom. They were performing in them, but by and large, they were made by big movie houses and directed by white men. And so from that perspective, we're the same problem. So, and there's nothing as far as TV goes. Love Norman Lear. His stuff was awesome. I'm not even going to go try to front. That guy made some good shows. But like my dad taught me, and I didn't even realize what was going on, but like my dad taught me, I was watching Good Times or the Jeffersons, something like that. And he was just like, it was Good Times. And he ever notice that all the black people are either broke or have been broke on the come up? And I was like, what are you talking about? Because my mind wasn't really wanting to hear or could hear what he was saying. But when he said it, I thought about it. Every show that I'd watched as a kid up until 1983 or 4 when the Cosby Show aired was black people being broke, which again, misrepresentation, because I didn't live that life, or black people that were good on the come up. Because my first thing to him was, and I thought I had won the argument, which I never won arguments with my dad. And I was like, what about the Jeffersons? I think I was a little heated too. And he was like, no, because the Jeffersons are a spinoff from All in the Family. George, I don't know what he was doing before he got broke off to get his first store. And while he was trying to get that off the ground, Louise was the maid. Yep. She was a maid for Maude, which was again another Norman Lear show. And I was like, F me. Because number one, I thought I had won the argument. Number two, he was right. And it's one of those moments in my life where I understood how black I was and how not cool it is. And it's like, damn. So when the Cosby Show comes along and the Fresh Prince soon after that, it's like a breath of fresh air. Because now you have black people running it top to bottom, sort of, because Bill Cosby has so much juice and all the spinoffs because of that. But so it's problematic, and then it's not problematic. It was what it was, but I can never deny how big it was in the early 70s. If you're of age between 8 and 12, to see yourself, especially in a powerful way, first Shaft movie, Enter the Dragon with Jim Kelly, Pam Grier's first movie, it was iffy, but it was still a powerful black woman doing her thing. It's very powerful. Say what?
Jackie Brown?
No, Jackie Brown was later on.
Yeah, okay.
Foxy Brown's what you talking about.
Foxy Brown, yes.
And Cleopatra Jones, by the way. Sorry about missing that one. That's big. So seeing black women like that being strong, seeing black men being strong, and just generally seeing black people that didn't look like the Mamie character in Gone with the Wind, even though that was an Academy Award winning performance. No, but you have to mention it. It happened.
I know. And I ain't mad at her for, being a star.
But again, that's what I'm saying. When you're not seeing yourself looking like her or Jack Benny's butler, it's big.
Or the woman at Tom and Jerry.
Shaft running around shooting white dudes in the head. I mean, Pam Grier running around cutting off white people's genitals and whatnot. That's a powerful image. Now, I don't agree with the violence. However, to see yourself being powerful and not being held down by the man is a big deal. So again, it's problematic, and then it's not. For me, it's just not. When I add it up at the end of the day, it's not.
Moby, before I let you go, I just need to impart one thing. I agree with you on the Shaft movie. However, Shaft Goes to Africa is the worst thing ever created.
Oh my God, dude.
Period.
Like I said it, the first Shaft.
Yeah, the first Shaft. That Shaft Goes to Africa crap makes me want to use bad words. That thing is horrible. Like Rudy Ray Moore, not even Rudy Ray Moore. Rudy Ray Moore should have been in it. It might have been funny. That joint was horrible. I apologize. I just need to put that in there because it was on my heart. Moby.
No, you're fine. I mean, I'm gonna approach this question from a more enlightened place than in which I spoke last week, because it really correlates. Last week I was super critical of a lot of female characters on TV and the characters that they represent, and like Scandal and Being Mary Jane, and because I want the bar to be higher. I'm like, I want the bar to be higher, but going to just what you said, AG, that's why I was being too critical last week, because by being critical and just saying I want the bar to be higher, I was failing to acknowledge the significance of the step. And just like you said, there weren't a lot of black people on TV. There weren't a lot of roles for us. So it was a good thing because it put more people on the screen in powerful positions that looked like you. So even if I think the character is problematic, it's still a character up there in a powerful position, letting somebody know, hey, you can be in this powerful position. So I feel the same way. Like, yeah, it was terrible because most of them were either heavily negatively stereotypical, piss poor quality, and some of the worst garbage ever put on cinema. But just like you said, it was black people on screen. And just like the chick in the Dolomite movie said, Lady Reed, when she thanks Dolomite, because I ain't never seen nobody that looked like me on TV before, on the screen before. That's what it was. So was it problematic? It became more problematic. I feel like the more progressive and enlightened we become as a society, the more problematic we realize it was. But you can say that with anything. So, I'm not reneging on anything I said last week, but I feel like that's the part I left out what I was saying last week, like the understanding of, but still being like, I want more. But the more progressive we get, we realize more problems and characters. Like, watch an old Looney Tunes cartoon. You see the problem. You see all the problems there, and you're like, "Whoa, why didn't we see this was an issue?" So, I mean, yeah, it was a good thing because it gave us more opportunity. It was a bad thing because a lot of white people it reinforced negative stereotypes that white people already had of us.
Yep. But I still say in your defense that I think it's unfair for you to judge yourself quite that way, because you were talking about 50 years later, or what we're talking about now is 50 years prior. And I think the situation was entirely different. I think that you are completely in the right by wanting better.
Yeah, but I just feel like in me saying I want it better, I wasn't acknowledging the understanding aspect. Like, I was basically just saying I don't understand how women watch this trash and glorify it. And I was failing to miss the point where I'm just like, I get it. You like seeing Olivia Pope in a powerful White House position. You're not even necessarily thinking about how much of a terrible person she is. You're just like, yo, black woman in powerful position. I feel that.
We here.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm just like, can we get there in a better way? Can we aim higher? That's I just want to aim higher, but like I also don't want to be, because I got some criticism last week, and some of the criticism, whether I agree with it or not, I understood where it was coming from, because if I come from a place where I'm just being critical, eventually you don't hear the constructive in the criticism, you just hear the criticism. So if I'm not at least coming at it from a place of understanding how we got here, I can't actually say I'm being constructively critical. I'm just being critical.
I'll accept that. Oh well, but I just didn't want you to just go.
Oh, this one no apology tour. I stand by what I said.
Who did I think I was talking to?
Pump the brakes, Pimp.
I know.
Not about all that.
Well, no, I mean, for real, I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going too far with it, because, like I said, last week we were talking about 50 years after. Now we're talking about 50 years prior. Yeah. So I think that, I think what you said was exactly right based on the question that was asked. That's all. But, I hear what you're saying too. I hear what you're saying. So what you think, Ruben?
And I guess, you gotta know where you came from to know where you're going. So I looked at this question a couple different ways. I agree with both of you on the past stuff. I don't think we talk enough about the present. And I'm not sure. There are days where I consider it a problem. But then there are days where I'm like, well, I get it. Maybe from this, someone will spring a turtle and they'll get a big break somewhere else. Because, like, I feel like some of it's still going on, especially like in the land of BET. And I feel part of me is like it's not their fault. They're catering to somewhat of an audience that they feel they need to cater to. But then I also feel like we can do better. I mean, because it's been said numerous on the show as far as being a proponent of BET or liker of BET. That ain't me.
Black Evil Television.
I mean,
I've never heard that before.
I like that.
Sorry. Black Evil Television.
And the funny part about it is, like, I knew there were a couple people who felt the way I felt about it, but until Aaron McGruder came out publicly about it, Aaron McGruder is the person who created Boondocks. The show that everybody loves.
Yeah.
He has. There have been a number of his episodes.
The episodes
that dude hates BET.
They wouldn't even show his episode on BET. It never aired on Cartoon Network. You had to get it in the season. They never aired it.
Yeah.
Really? Can I see it on HBO Max now? Or
Yeah, you probably can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But he hates BET with a passion. And I just thought it was like me and a couple other people I knew. I didn't realize they've reached that top because BET had a really bad stigma of just being like, you show nothing but the negative of black people. And there is a time where I felt that way. That's all they showed. And that was that black exploitation. I felt like BET was literally taking us back, 20, 30 years, back to the days of the good times. And
then they took Uncut from us. They took Uncut. They took BET Uncut and tried to label it under, we're trying to make our TV more wholesome. But you took the Teen Summit thing that they used to have on Saturday.
Yeah.
You took all the positive stuff with it too, and you're gonna take BET Uncut? You mean I can't listen to Black Jesus no more? Tell me what that thing smells like. Why is that really making us better as a people? Because now I can't hear that.
I can always count on you. I can always count. Tell me what that thing smells like.
Yeah, I was hoping he wouldn't bring up Uncut, but I was unhappy. Like, I think I didn't watch BET for like a year once they said they cut.
But because it was the new president. She took away BET Uncut, and I'm like, okay, if you're gonna go 100% wholesome, I'm trying to clean up the image. Cool, I'm with you. But then she brought all these reality trashy, like the black version of
The Real World.
Real World, and just basically showed the most scandalous, skanky.
But
like
that sells though.
Yeah, but I'm like, but now you can't tell me you're trying to fall under the umbrella of being wholesome and getting quality television for black people that uplifts our people. Because that's the umbrella you took BET Uncut off, and then you gave me this crap. Man, give me Black Jesus. Let me see what that thing smell like. Give me that tip drill video. Walk it like a dog. Don't tell me
that pee popping. Can I get that pee popping? I mean,
don't tell Mr. Farrakhan. He don't need to know what's going on with white girls. Come on, man. I need all of that.
He don't need to know what's going on with white girls.
Yeah,
I can always count on you.
BET Uncut was everything to me, man. Not for the stereotypical, because you thought you was gonna see TNA. No, because some of the musical expression that was up there was so bad that I felt like it needed to be consumed. Like, I needed BET cut. I needed some of that trash rap music to fully appreciate the good music. That's why we've got mumble rap right now, because BET Uncut doesn't exist.
Yep.
Because we can't tell the difference between quality, artistic expression, and trash because somebody took it away from us.
And BET Uncut was about the trash. It was about the trash. Every once in a while, you would get a big name up there with a video they could never show on MTV. But at 3:52 in the morning,
you get Keep Popping on the Handstand, Tip Drill, Pimp Juice. You get a couple of them.
Yeah. And then,
what are we doing, man?
I'm just saying, BET has destroyed the life that black people has known it, and people don't understand. And it's like they're trying to make a comeback right now, but some of their shows are watchable. And then they play girlfriends all day. And it's just like
I hate BET because of the low quality of it. And I'm just like, there's a difference between like low budget and like just poor trash black exploitation.
Well,
there's a difference because sometimes if you just got a low budget, you just got a low budget, man. That's just all you got.
Look, man, low budget is girlfriends, man. That
wasn't low budget.
Hey, man, that was executive produced by Kelsey Grammer, man. What you talking about?
Exactly.
Once again, I don't mean it was good because it wasn't.
Man, that show was good, man. And by the way, I can't let BET go down like that because they had a show called Read Between the Lines that was really good. Malcolm Jamal Warner and Tracy Ellis Ross. That was good. And the only reason
long did it last?
Well, it didn't last because Tracy Ross got at the Blackish gig.
Yeah,
and it just
they couldn't replace her.
They chose not to, but the show was good.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like
might not be good if you replaced her. Like, to be honest.
Yeah, but you
can't always just replace Aunt Viv, man. You can't always just drop another Aunt Viv in there, man.
I didn't have a problem with that Aunt Viv. But clearly you did.
You can't do what Family Matters did and just erase a kid one day.
Yeah, you know what? Happy Days. I think Happy Days was the first show to do it. Happy Days.
It don't always work for everybody. You can't always do that.
Yeah. One season it was like one less kid. It's like what?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but what I'm saying is like I just need BET to become consistent. If you're going to be consistently bad, at least that's what you are. Don't give me like one program that's good and sprinkle a whole bunch of garbage around it. Like I can't. And you're not Black Entertainment TV. You are entertainment TV for some black people. I mean, because
you're never going to be able.
Hold on. Dre from VA said that in Family Matters, Harriet got replaced.
Yeah.
Harriet's the wife, ain't she?
Yeah, they swapped her out too.
For real.
Yeah.
I watched one season.
And he's right. Yeah. That's how the kid got eliminated. The last show you saw her, she went up to her room, and then all of a sudden she was not. They had no other kid no more. Like that was it.
I didn't know they replaced Harriet. Okay.
That's how much I watch Family Matters. I don't know who Harriet is. Like I couldn't tell you. I know you have
that kid did end up doing some adult stuff.
Yeah, I think she did.
The girl, the boy, yeah, that's it. I got nothing. And Urkel and the parents, that won't his. Which, whatever. But I guess what I'm saying is
got sent up to the room and turned into a sad Law and Order SVU story.
That's so jacked up. That is so. But you're not wrong, though. Actually, the best thing about Family Matters was Vonda. Ooh.
I forgot about her. How
do you forget about her?
That's how much I watched that show.
You're dead to me, Ruben.
Man, whatever. Man.
How do you forget? Man, she was beautiful, bro.
I mean, it also came on like a Friday night, and I was watching something else on Friday.
And Family Matters was actually one of the rare shows that didn't show black people in the stereotypical way.
Nope.
They weren't broke, and they weren't like newfound coming up. They were just an everyday family.
They just put them on a time where I was watching something else.
You weren't watching TGIF, man?
No.
Come on, man. You had Family Matters. You had what was the show with Balky? What was that show?
Perfect Strangers.
There you go.
Didn't they have what was another Step by Step?
There you go. Yep.
Two terrible shows. Two terrible ass shows.
Whoa.
Hold on. First of all,
you're hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Miss World.
First of all.
Oh my gosh.
Step by Step had TV's Patrick Duffy in it. F that guy.
Why?
That guy. I mean,
He was Bobby Ewing, man. Come on, man.
he was Bobby Ewing, and in every Hallmark movie for
Yo,
like
Hallmark
10
is
years
dope.
straight.
Bro, he was
Hallmark.
trying to get them checked. I was saying that to my grandma the other day. If I could ever get into acting, I'm trying to get on the Hallmark channel. It's you always gonna have a job.
Yep.
You play the same character in pretty much every movie.
Just different names.
Just
Because they
different
recycle characters.
names. Yeah, I'm
They
like,
recycle
yo,
characters all the time.
Hallmark movie, they making 6 movies a year, getting paid consistently, no
Mhm.
pressure. Yo, they living the dream, man.
Man, if you
Don't
think
you
Mrs.
talk
Van
about that Hallmark channel, man.
Hey,
All you
for
gotta do, you make a Christmas movie, you
Yep.
make a summertime movie, then you make another Christmas movie.
I was gonna say, man, like,
Actually,
They
you
have
make
like
2
20
Christmas
Christmas
movies a
movies.
year. You make 2 Christmas movies a year because they got Christmas in July now. They got the
That's
summer.
what I say. You make a Christmas movie,
There you
summertime
go.
movie, Christmas movie again.
you realize they got like 40 Christmas movies because every December, every day is a different Christmas movie.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
ass
watch
to
it
the
like
Christmas
And that is you're not impressed with the hit factory that they're making.
exactly, and you know how they're gonna begin and end, and you still watch.
As soon as the movie
I don't
starts,
watch
you
it.
already know how the movie's gonna end.
Exactly.
I don't watch it. Maybe
Yo,
y'all too.
You got a stone.
It's-
You're a
it's-
Grinch, man.
It's always about somebody who used to be in a small town, went to a big city, came back to a small town to recapture their small town values, falls
They
in
fell
love
on
with
a
high
hard
school
time.
sweetheart. I mean, it's every movie. Like, and you know what? You could get stuck on it. Like every time I go to my grandma's watching, and I'm just like, yo, I be thinking I'm watching the same movie, and then I'm
Because
just like, yo,
it is. The
this
same movie, different people,
is the
different location.
greatest gig in acting. This
Yes,
is the greatest gig in acting.
telling you, man. The ex Mrs. Van Halen had her own money, bro. Valerie Burton
man.
really spent. I mean, she got paid.
And she's still on that crap. But all I'm saying is, I got nothing against it. I'm just saying, bruh. Yeah, I am doing Christmas. It's because I don't have kids, man. It's literally because I don't have children.
You don't have to
Like,
have kids,
I-
man.
Man, but I'm
Sure,
myself.
it's just because a hater can only a hater hates best when everybody else has joy. So Christmas is generally the most joyful time of the year, which means your hatred has to get amped up.
I don't hate Christmas.
It's cause and effect, man. Like, I'm not even mad at you. I expect you to do your best hating after Thanksgiving to January 3rd. Your best hating will always come like November 26th to like January 3rd. That's when you and your haters Maximus.
Actually,
Haters,
actually,
nice.
to be real about it, to be honest, really
Actually,
the hating period.
it probably started in October when you hear that first Christmas song in
Oh, yeah.
retail. You
He's not
probably
wrong
was like,
about
yep, it's over with.
He's not wrong.
Nah, I don't like that, but that's not when it really starts the 26th of December because everybody's wearing all their new stuff, and I'm just like, get out of my face, your new crap, and I'm just done. But I don't hate like that anymore. I just
That
I don't-
statement was double down hate. There was nothing to that statement but hate. It was hate blended with hate, with 2 shots of hate, mixed with hate, baked in a hate oven.
wow, man.
He's not wrong, man. He's not wrong.
These people be thinking, yo, Ruben's like the worst dude on the planet. I'm
Well,
not.
I mean, all they got to do is listen to the shows. They
Robert,
don't know.
you're just embrace your hate. You literally created a question in this thing just so you could hate on BET. The blaxploitation thing was just a way for you to loop back around and talk some shit about BET.
You're not wrong. Somebody's gotta take up the fight, man, because Aaron Magruder don't make no more Boondocks anymore, man. When he was making Boondocks, he was fighting the good fight. And he made Boondocks in like a decade, so it's like somebody gotta take up the fight. And
The
if
show
it's
is
me,
called 5 Minute Warning because in 5 minutes he gonna hate on everything. Everything.
Ruben needs to be locked in the basement with AJ and Free. First of all, no, because AJ is whack, and I was never a fan of
What did
AJ.
that do to you though, man?
Man, he looks whack. I wasn't a fan.
He was just a guy.
Free was dope though, for real.
Man, look, don't do that. The only reason you saying Free was dope is because of the way she looked, and you're basically just saying she was as dope as her measurements.
I've never heard that before ever. She is as dope as her measurements. Need to be locked in the basement because they're not
Hey
worried to be in
man,
the
Rap
basement.
City was dope, and Big Tigger is what's missing from hip hop today. I stand on that.
Big Tigger's like 50, yo.
I don't care. I need Big Tigger back. I
mean-
need some dudes going into the booth and freestyling a verse that's on some other song on their album, pretending that they're freestyling. I need that.
And look, man, I don't know. I got nothing. I like Big Tigger, so there's no hate coming from here for that. So, all right, man. Clearly, we have milked this discussion as far as it's going to go. So, let's go with the next situation that's going on. Moby, what's on your mind, bro?
Man, what happened to music videos, man?
We moved. They still show them on TV.
No, but they not prevalent, man. I need music videos, man.
I told you where you could get movie
No,
videos like
no,
15 episodes ago.
You're missing what I'm saying. Like music videos used to be an important component to, like, as they say, the culture. Because like now, I don't know what artists look like. There's no accountability. It's just dudes putting gemstones in their foreheads and saying that they're a rapper. It's dudes wearing dresses and skirts, homies over hoes. Like there's no accountability in hip hop because there's no more music video.
Homies over hoes.
So what I need,
man.
I need a resurgence of music videos. I need them to bring back 106 in Park, bring back Rap City, bring back some stuff that makes artists have to hold themselves accountable. So I don't have
Like Uncut. Like Uncut.
Definitely, Uncut needs to be back. Because Uncut, then all of these like mumble rappers and these rappers that like rap all over the beat, the baby, and just like they just all over the place. Like it'll give them a platform where people who want to hear that can go watch it, and they can do it under the safety of just saying, "Hey, I'm just watching it for the ass and titties." Like, and you can say that even if you actually like the music, but then you can just say, "I'm watching it for that," so you don't have to feel guilty about it. So people like me can then hear people who like enunciate and like put thought behind their rhymes and like, you know, really treat it as if it's some art form. Like we can have a place where we can listen to the music too. What happened? Why can't this? Why is this such a difficult concept?
I will say this though. I'm sorry to bust in your statement. The baby does rap on the beat when he is on pop music, but if he's got his own stuff, man, that stuff is terrible. Because like.
All right. I need him. Okay. So what you're saying is
when he's a feature on pop music,
and I'm telling you that you're not listening, because what I'm telling you is the baby does rap on beat eventually, but that's because if you're rapping on 6 different beats, like eventually you're gonna find one. You're gonna find it like a broke clock, right? Twice a day. Like eventually the baby finds it. But there's such an artistic catastrophe to his delivery that I understand why people like him, because it's like, is he doing this on purpose? Is he intentionally smothering the beat? As my man Crank Lucas said, because he never lets the beat build at all. It's just as soon as the beat comes on, he starts rapping. He's like, oh, so just you and the beat already know each other. Just as soon as it comes on, like, no foreplay, no dating, just boom. Like y'all been cool, y'all been kicking it for a minute. As soon as it come on. And like I said, I'm not trying to single him out, because there's some tracks that the baby has that I'm like, hey, this is all right. But if you're gonna sit here and tell me that he makes a conscious effort to be on the beat on pop tracks, I'm just gonna say you're not listening hard enough, because he's not. Like, I don't even think the baby be in the studio when like he's not even in the studio with his producer. They basically say, hey, go spit 16 bars and let the producers just try to figure it out. And I know producers be in there like doing calculus, like trying to figure out what beat to put him on. Like, when do we put him in? I mean, carry the 2, if X is this, like, I don't know. If like, you just there's no redeeming qualities to his delivery, but that's probably the most redeeming quality of his delivery because every time he raps, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the baby. I know it's him every time, so at least he has one thing going as opposed to all the other people. Like at least people know it's him. And when other people are rapping, sometimes I don't know what artist it is. I'm like, who's this? Like Lil Uzi or Kodak or NBA. Who are these people? Where did they get their names from?
Did you say NBA YoungBoy?
Man, bring back BET Uncut.
You look so sad.
Make sure you said bring it back because these people ain't got nowhere else to go, and they're putting them in like everybody's ear instead of putting them on BET Uncut where they belong.
Just bring back BET Uncut.
The voice track is isolated. Let the producer earn his paycheck.
I mean, it
doesn't work like that, Moco Cowboy. It doesn't.
Technically, I feel like it does because every producer that works with the baby should win an award. Like if the baby has a song and it other than Bop, like Bop was the only song it felt like he made a conscious effort to be on the beat. And I'm like, yo, did you do this on accident? Or was somebody holding you at gunpoint? Like, bruh, you not gonna mess this up. Like, I mean, just think about it. If you got a hot beat, I'm saying you put your sweat and soul into this beat, and this dude comes in the studio rapping on 6 different other beats. Like, you don't take that a bit personal as a producer. Like, hey, bro, you didn't get the track I sent you. Like, you the beat I sent you wasn't good enough, so you came here and said gonna put your headphones on and rap to whatever beat playing in your head right now.
Wow, man. I mean, this dude just went on a hate rant for like 5 minutes.
It's not hate. It's an evaluation of the state of hip hop. That's all it was.
Man, because I don't care what you call it.
Because I've come up here for the record many times and said, hey, I give this stuff a chance. I'm not the dude that's just like, get off my lawn. I'm not that guy. I even said, hey, there's some tracks that the baby on it. I'm like, hey, I like him. But like overall, the dude don't know what a beat. Well, he knows what a beat is. I just don't. I think he's allergic to it or he's scared of it. He's afraid. Maybe he's the Floyd Mayweather of rapping, man. He's just trying not to get hit. You know what I'm saying? He's just playing defense the whole time.
He tried.
This show has become about
every time he's rapping, he's like the beat. Got it. Nope. Not gonna catch the beat today.
Oh, damn. God.
All these people got opinions about producers. Y'all need to stop, man. No. I refuse to accept this. No.
So, you know what? The producer, there was a lot of stopping going at about beat. Like, you're right. Never mind. That producer, he needs an award.
Somebody can't mess up any beat with it twisted. Let him go for 1,000 worlds.
The video was hot.
I mean, the video was hot though, and you know, in an era where nobody's really paying attention to music videos.
Oh man! Wow. All right, Mo B. Maybe next week we'll have a different rap artist.
BET Uncut. I'm taking it back. Taking it back. We're starting a petition. We're gonna get it.
Man, they've been doing that petition for like 10 years. They still ain't nowhere because that woman's still in charge. Until she gets out of charge, it doesn't really matter. AG, I don't know how you can follow that up, but I can't even say the damn sentence now. What's on your mind?
I'm not going to follow it. All I'm going to say is I just wanted to give a shout like we have been this weekend to the Lovings. They were the first. Appreciate y'all because y'all got it bad. And if it weren't for y'all, my life would be a lot harder. So shout out to them. Love y'all. Appreciate you. I'm good.
Awesome. So, what's on my mind? A lot, actually. But one thing I want to talk about is something that's really near and dear to my heart. So, a lot of people know that I did 4-H for an extremely long time in my life, and I still volunteer, and stuff like that. A lot of people know that the 4-H's mean head, heart, hands, and health. And some people know that it was created in 1902. However, recently there's been a situation in which the symbol has been changed, and the pride symbol has been added on top of the clover. The rainbows have been added on top of the clover. So, like, I saw a thing on Facebook, and I was kind of just reading through stuff, and you had some people who were just like, "What is wrong with you?" And some people were just like, "This shouldn't happen." Some people were like, "What are you talking about? You know, you're crazy or whatever." So it took me a long time to formulate my opinion on how I feel about it. And basically, it's like, first thing, the symbol is protected by law. If you look at the 4-H clover, there's some little numbers at the bottom. Basically, it's protected by law, so you can't technically change the symbol. Because it's one of the most recognized symbols in the world. It's up there with Coke and Ford and all that stuff. However, let's be real about this. People change the logo all the time. I mean, I ain't going to front. The logo has been changed by my hand a couple times for whatever I need to suit it for. However, what doesn't change is the spirit of the logo. Now, I don't know who created the pride symbol on the 4-H clover. I really don't. I just saw it one day. I was like, huh. However, there was one person in the comments who was pretty much like, I can't believe they did this. I'm from the rural area, and this affects me, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, like, don't dare throw the 4-H clover and put your personal, like, beliefs in it. Because that has nothing to do with your personal beliefs. And the fact that, yes, 4-H was created in the rural areas. However, 4-H is everywhere. So, it is. So, as far as I'm concerned, like, I get you, but you're putting your personal thoughts processes adding with this. So, what I need for you not to do is to, like, make all that. If you're unhappy with the pride symbol, then you can be unhappy with the pride symbol. That's all you. I'm not going to tell you what you be happy with not. However, this ain't the clover's fault. The clover didn't do anything, to you. But me growing up in 4-H, I've been in 4-H for a very long time. The clover symbol is actually supposed to be the best of us. So, like, it's supposed to be what we can achieve individually and together. So that's how it means to me. So I just don't understand how someone feels negative about the clover. And, like, it's one thing if somebody put, like, murder, death, kill in the clover. That's a completely different thing. And maybe to that person, when you see the pride colors, maybe that means that to you. And that's great. But once again, what I don't need for you to do is, well, they shouldn't have this up here because the law states you can't change the clover. Look, man, if you feel a certain way about how the clover has changed, it's not about the clover. It's about your feelings to what it looks like. So hiding behind the law thing is kind of weak. I mean, because it's not like somebody's getting arrested for it. It's not going to happen. That's crazy. Because if it was true, I know a whole bunch of people who'd be in jail for it right now, or at least have a record. So that ain't legit. But, my personal opinion is, once again, the clover's the best of us, what we can achieve together as individually. And you probably feel like you don't like the pride symbol. You probably don't think 4-H should be integrated either. When it integrated in 1965, when the black kids who were doing 4-H and the white kids who were doing 4-H came together, and guess what? All the kids doing 4-H. You probably don't like that either. You're from a rural area. That's probably not cool for you. So I get that. The clover itself is a positive symbol. The clover itself should never be looked at as negative, ever. Because if you change the clover, that's somebody changing the clover, and that's not the clover saying, I don't like you no more. I like something else now. That's not how it works. And, the fact that that person was like, well, I'm from a rural area, and this is how the clover represent. Hey, look, I mean, last time I checked, the clover's all around the world. 4-H is all around the world. We're in like 86 countries. So like just because it started in a rural area in 1902, guess what? Kind of grown up, kind of did some things, branched out. It's not about you anymore. And then when it's all said and done, the Clover is open and inclusive. 4-H is open and inclusive. So why would you feel some sort of way about the prize symbol being on the Clover? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you have an issue with the prize symbol being on the Clover, then you have an issue with 4-H in general, because 4-H, once again, it's about being inclusive and working together and stuff like that. So to me, you're kind of not having the same values of what 4-H is supposed to be. So I kind of have a problem with that. So, once again, everybody has their own personal opinions. I don't have an issue with it because to me, that's a powerful symbol, the Clover itself, and how the Clover morphs into even more powerful symbols is awesome. But when it's all said and done, if you're not down with the inclusiveness, if you're not down with the openness, if you're not down with what the Clover and what 4-H really stands for, then I think you kind of got it wrong. You got the whole 4-H thing wrong. I'm sorry that you feel that way, and that's on you. But, don't sit here and, trash something that didn't do anything to you. When you sat here and you talk about how much you love 4-H and you love the Clover, then you turn around and are mad because somebody put the prize symbol on the Clover. Because last time I checked, 4-H is open and inclusive to everyone, regardless of race, color, gender, and all the other things. So, you got your stuff mixed up. And yeah, that's how I feel right now, and that's what's on my mind, because I think it's sad that someone has decided to take such a positive symbol, and just because another positive symbol is on top of that, you're turning it negative. And it's not the Clover, bro. It's you. And that's all I got to say about that. I'd like to thank everybody for listening to the show today. Thank you for joining us. Of course, podcast will be out on Thursday, just in case you missed the show. Definitely tell friends, tell everybody. I'd like to thank Moby and AG for being on the show. Oh, man, people are talking. Is intolerance okay in rural areas? Of course not. Intolerance is not okay anywhere. But I guess so. We ain't got no labels to tolerate. That's funny. Crystal graduated college. Thanks for making me feel old, jerk. I don't like you anymore. And you're right, KB Yako. Those people aren't about the 4-H, man. Head, heart, hands, health, man. If you're not about that, I don't know what you're doing. So, once again, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you follow us on social media as it streams below. And y'all be good out there. Take it easy. And yeah, thank you for joining us. See you next week.
You can send any questions or comments to FIVE Minute Warning 19 at gmail.com.
The 5-Minute Warning can now be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Google Podcast, and Radio Public. Share, like, subscribe.
You've been listening to the 5-Minute Warning with Ruben Brown. Search 5-Minute Warning on the Spotify app. Peace.
Stay safe out there.